So in the last lesson, guys, I mentioned that we were going to make conflict PvP, but I actually meant capture and hold because conflict PvP is a little bit more difficult to make, and this is the beginner course, so we will be starting with the most simplest version of game modes, and that is creating capture and hold. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new project, and we are going to call this capture and hold. We should actually stick to our programming name types, so we're going to join that together like that. So we're going to call that capture and hold tutorial. That'll do. And we don't need any dependencies, so we're just going to go create, and we don't need to load up any sample mods either. All right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to Reforger, worlds. Okay, guys, so we want to go capture and hold base world, and then we just want to click and open it up like this. Okay, so from here, guys, we want to hit new world, and then we want to go subscene. Okay. All right, so let's just where are we? There's runs, Chotane. Let's go. Let me just speed that up a bit. Okay, that was a bit fast. Slow down, Willow. Okay, we want to go over there. I want to go to St. Pierre here. Okay, I'll just slow me down a bit. That's probably a little bit too fast. Okay, yeah. So we're going to go to St. Pierre. Okay, we'll just stop there for now. Okay, and so this is where we're going to build our little capture and hold. So it'll be a little bit of a game here. We'll put a couple of points there that people have to hold, and then they'll get points for it. And then what we want to do is just go here and then go save world as. Just want to close that down, and we want to click on our folder, and we should actually let's make a folder. So in here, okay, we're gonna go worlds like this. And go, okay, so we now have a folder in here, worlds, and then we can name our world, and we're probably gonna call it car Saint Pierre Church. That'll do. Something like that, guys. Okay. We go okay. And then now that's saved. Okay, and so if we look over here, we have like a whole bunch of stuff. So we have the original sort of world here, and there's some more stuff here for our game world. So the game mode. So we have a capture and hold, preload manager, chat entity, destruction manager, so we can destroy things. There's an item preview manager. There's a perception manager, radio manager, so we can use the radio. Then you have the AI world here, and then the campaign manager, and all that's just locked. Okay, it's locked away there, and this is where we will be using our own stuff. Is here. So in the most simplest form, we're going to put everything inside of default. So the first thing we're going to want to do, you can actually see my thing is remembered. Let me just click there so it's out. So to be able to get our game mode, and so that we can change things, we want to be able to go into Arma Reforger, prefabs. Yep, prefabs. And then let me just close that up. So close that up as well. So Arma Reforger, prefabs, multiplayer, modes. Yep, modes. Let me just click on modes, and you can see it there. Arma Reforger, prefabs, multiplayer modes, capture and hold. And then we want game mode, capture and hold. And then we want to be able to click that and then drag it into the world. And it doesn't matter where you put it, because if you need it, you can always click on it here. But I'm just going to click and drag it onto this piece of concrete here. And like if we click off it, you can see that even though it's a prefab, it's invisible. But it doesn't matter, because what we don't need to find it in the world, because we can click on it here. Okay? So don't panic when you drop things in. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go back down to here. And we need to just click back into Arma Reforger, prefabs, MP, which is multiplayer. Okay, and then from here, we want to go to factions. Let me just close this. Sorry, managers. Managers, factions. Okay, and then we have a whole bunch of different faction managers here. So there's a base one, which means that it's just, it doesn't belong to any faction. It's just there ready for you to make your own faction. And then it has a faction editor. This one is FFA, which stands for free for all. So if you're doing a deathmatch scenario where everybody is killing each other, you can drop that in. Okay, and it means that people are not going to get punished if they kill somebody who spawned on the same team as them, and in fact, it doesn't have any team. And then finally, you have a faction manager, which is the most vanilla, US versus USSR. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop that in. Okay, so inside of managers, so again, multiplayer managers, we want loadouts. And again, you'll see it has the same thing for loadout manager. There's free for all. And this time we want to get USSR. Drop that in as well. We'll drop it straight on the concrete again. Again, it doesn't matter because it's going to be over here. Once you've done that, just make sure all three are in the world. So you have this one, and this one, and then we're just going to hit save. And the next thing we're going to do is create a capture point. Okay, so let's go back to MP here, and then let's go modes, capture and hold. And then you can see here, there's another folder called areas, and we want to grab that. So what these are is these are capture points that we can use to be able to gain points for our side by holding them. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to zip over to the church. And what we want to do is we just want to take a capture and hold area major. So if we drag and just drop that there, okay, we now have a capture point in the world. And if we just close all these up, just so we can, there we go. Okay, so inside our capture and hold area major here, we can actually like make a sphere, like an area where we can, if the person steps inside it, it begins to capture it. And so the best way to be able to do that, and it's really simple, is that we just change it from a bounding box into a sphere. And then normally we would just click and type in a number down here, guys. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it so you can watch the sphere grow. So it's going to be a red sphere. You can see it growing on the map, on the world there. Okay, and we'll just take it up to 20. I'm just going to type in 20, guys, so we can, there we go. And then what we can do is we can grab hold of our directional arrows, and then we can move it so that it sits over the church. And so what we have now is a spawn, a capture point. Now, if you feel that's too small, we can obviously make it bigger. There we go. And if you think that it's hanging over here and here too much, we can shift it this way a bit so it takes more of the garden, the cemetery at the back there. Okay, so there we go. We have our sphere of influence. So this will be basically when people walk in, they will begin to capture and gain points. Of course, to be able to make this like at least the most basic style of game, we're going to need to put in a US and a USSR spawn points. So let's go to modes. Oh, this one. Yep, so back to multiplayer. Spawning. And then we need to find our US and USSR spawn points. Spawn point US. And then we just drag and drop it into the world. So we're going to put it just here. And then we need to put a spawn point USSR, and we'll just put that one like on the road up here. And then we can fight over the church. Again, we're making this at the most basic level. So we don't have to worry too much about this stuff. Because at the moment, it's just about learning the mechanics rather than trying to make something sexy. So let's just save. And then let's actually test this out. So we'll go here. And then we're going to go yes to all. Okay, so we just got to wait for the countdown, guys. We just wait for that to click. There we go. And we'll click go. Okay, so we're in. Let's just go third person. And you can see that the dome is drawn. So we can turn that off in inside there. And we'll do that once we've finished here. But if we just jump inside here, you'll see the change. There we go. So the blue A has come up and the point system is going up. So we have a very simple capture and hold there right here on the church. So let's just jump out. Okay, so to be able to get rid of the dome, if we just find our hold area major, and then where it says draw shape, we can turn it off and it disappears. And then people will have to enter the church and have a general idea where the sphere is. Yeah. Okay, now we need to make a mission header. So let's just save. And then we'll just close down the world editor and go back into the main world here, the main window. And so in capture and hold here now, we just need to create a new folder. So if we go new folder, and we want to call this missions. Missions. I think it's going to be missions, so plural. So I pluralized that, missions. We want to go into there. And again, we want to come down here. We want to go create, and then we want to create a config file. And then what do we want to call it? That's a good question. What should we call this? Let's call it something like capture and hold underscore Saint Pierre underscore church. Saint Pierre underscore church, and go okay. And then when we hit okay now, we're going to come up with the usual config menu. Okay, and then if we just type in mission, there you go, it comes up almost immediately. And we want to grab a mission header, straight up mission header. Yep. Click. And now we have our capture and hold config here. So let's just open it. And this will be really recognizable if you've ever tried to mod any kind of game mode. So when you jump into the multiplayer server search sort of menu place screen, and you start clicking on different servers in that list, you'll notice that you'll probably recognize these images. Like this is the background image and the icon image that you'll often see. let's see what these are. So there's the icon, which is just a picture of the cloud, of a cloud. You have a loading screen. So this is the loading screen one. So when you're loading in, this is what you'll see, and you can change that. And then we can also, this is the preview image. So this is the one that you'll see when you click on the server in the search list, in the list, server list, you'll get a little preview that pops up over this side. This is the image, and you can change that so you can have your own branding in there, especially if you're like modding for a server owner. You can place their image in this, and yeah, so you'll be able to change that. All right, I guess we should look at giving it a name. Okay, let's start by giving it a name, and we want capture and hold Saint. Let's make that a small one. Let me just move my cursor out the way. Pierre Church. And then here in our world, we need to add our ENT files. So we're going to click on browse, and it comes into ours here, capture and hold tutorial. I wrote worlds. There's our world that we made, capture and hold St. Pierre Church. And we're going to hit OK. Author, me. Okay, maybe you can put your own one there. You can put a description. That'll do. Okay, and then you can write a big detail about how to do it and stuff like that. But that'll do for now. Okay, a game mode here. You can see it says sandbox. Let's just type capture and hold. Player count. Let's make it 40. Let's make it 100. There you go, 100. You can do as many as you like. And then we want to save. And I've just saved that. And then this will open up. This is what people will see when they try and search for this game mode. You can even make your own game mode. Let's go into Canva and see what I can do in Canva. I feel like I might even have some here if I just, where can I, you can see there's conflict, domination, PvE. Let's just quickly download. Okay, so icon, we'll download this. For the icon, download. I want to download current page. Actually, yep, current page. No, we need a landscape image. But we'll just quickly download that. We'll just call it logo. Okay guys, so we're just going to change the icon, the loading screen, the preview image. I'll let you learn to be able to do that yourself, but I just want to show you this real quick. So what we want to do is we just want to create a new folder, and we want to call this assets. Okay, and then inside assets, if you were going to do more, you would obviously do create new folder. Inside assets would go images. Okay, and then what we can do is if we just go here, downloads. There's my logo. If you just drag and drop it into this window, it then creates an import. So you'll have an EDD file and then the original file. And then what we can do is we can now put this inside here. Now you can either drag and just drop it in like that, or obviously you can hit the browse and then go here. So capture and hold, tutorial, assets, images, and then you can find my EDDS. Okay, so Control S, and that will then show up when people like click on the server. They will see the image. Okay. Let's go back to worlds and open up our world, subworld. I'm just going to open up this little default window here so we can see all of our stuff. Okay, so inside this one, the capture and hold, let me just make that so you can actually see it. So in game mode, capture and hold 1, again, you can rename these, but I like to keep them with their original names unless I'm making something really big, but this is very simple, so this is fine. But over in here, in the base game mode, you can find the scoring system. And then inside the scoring system, you can now modify how much people score for a kill. You can see how much people will be punished for team kills. So also the death score multiplier, suicide score, like you can, minus, the score that this is set to by like ×2, ×4. Objective score multiplier as well. So you can, every time there is a tick, you can decide how much it goes up. There is also in here the score limit. So this in capture and hold is how many points. So at the moment it's set to 500, but you could make it to like, like 8,000. And that will make it a much longer game. And of course, this is for faction capture and hold. So we place it's staying on faction. But if you wanted to do a free-for-all capture and hold, or like that, you can place onto player. So the player score goes up, not the faction. Also, if you would like to modify the kill feed, I believe it's in notification sender. Yep. So in here you'll have your kill feed. So this will be like if a player disconnects, you can tick that kill feed type. So it'll tell you. So in PvP, when you kill someone, your name necessary isn't shown to the other person. But you can set that to full, so then it has their name and your name, and then here you can see the kill feed will either be the group, or you can set it to all, so everybody sees the kill. Allies, same faction, group only, but we'll just set it to all, so everybody can see the kill feed. Friendly fire kill feed, show only friendlies who are in the team. You can set it to default, and then the other one is only show the players involved. It just means that people are not going to get upset. So if you accidentally kill someone, it's only between you and the other person. You can have like the different, these are like pre-made kill feed types. So you can see here full, so everybody. So these are like everybody sees everything. Unknown killer, so then like the person who killed the person won't sort of bring any unwanted sort of heat. And then the kill feed is disabled. So these are all presets already made. These are all like, this here. These are all basically, these are presets for this here. So, and then this is a crazy preset, but these are all the reasons why a player might be kicked. So like there's an error, platform error, battle eye, error, data and script errors, player is kicked, voted kicked, is kicked because of too many friendly fire, disruptive behavior. So these are all things that will pop up, and so that the community can see what's going on. So they're all like notification presets, and you can also make your own, but again, that's a little bit advanced for beginner. But you can change the way your kill feed is seen. Okay, save. So the next one is to decide whether you're having a more of an arcade style game where as soon as you're shot and it's a critical hit, you're instantly killed and then you instantly respawn. Or you can set unconsciousness to on. So we'll quickly just do that. So this will be in, it'll be in like health. Oh, there we go. Health settings here. So what do we got here? Down in unsorted, you can see that it could be enabled or disabled. The regeneration scale. So that's how quickly the character regenerates. And then the regeneration delay. So, okay, regeneration scale is how quickly the person goes from being unconscious to regaining consciousness and getting to full health again. So there is you can allow people to wake up, basically. Delay is so that when that generation starts, so maybe what you want to do is you want to set the regeneration level to really, really, sorry guys, I'm hiccuping, really, really high so that they pretty much wake up in a minute. Okay. However, you don't want them to go down and then regenerate quickly in a minute. Maybe you want them to stay unconscious for like 40 seconds and then the regeneration kicks in. And that's what the delay is. The regeneration delay allows, it's in seconds, I believe. Yeah. So it'll wait and wait and wait. And so at the moment it's 10 seconds. It'll wait 10 seconds. And then the regeneration scale is normal. So 1 is normal. And then you can times that up all the way up to 20. And that is really, really fast. So the person will just get better, 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 and then wake up. Compartment regeneration. So that'll be the different parts of the body that will go from being injured. So like if you can't run, you can, it takes this many, multipliers for the leg to heal. You can change that. So at the moment it's at 1. So it'll go at default speed. You can speed that up. Tourniquet strength. So that says how much the bleeding is reduced from a tourniquet. Tourniquet leg movement. So it slows you down so that by 0.75. So now you can't like run. You can only just walk to jog maybe. Permit unconscious voice over net. So when you're down, can you still use voice chat? And you can tick that. So we're going to tick that. Permit unconsciousness. Yes, we want people to go unconscious and to be yelling, help, because then it'll allow people to create like kill zones. That's kind of funny. Kill indefinitely unconscious players. So basically, if people can't be like woken up for some reason, the game will just kill them. I believe that's what it says. Whether to allow unconsciousness even when waking up automatically is not guaranteed. We're going to leave that unticked. Regen scale, we're going to leave it normal. Okay, so let's say it. We probably spent a little bit too long on that part, but it's always good. This seems to be a really big part. However, you can overcome most of this by basically putting Ace Medical dev onto your server, if you have a server. So if you add the mod Ace Medical, it will overcome most of this and create a much better, robust gameplay. Where are we up to? Okay, so this is a very, very small game area. And one of the problems we're going to have in our gameplay is that enemies are going to overwhelm like us inside the church grounds here. And then, as everyone is bound to do, they're going to jump the wall and push through and basically just spawn campers. And so what we can do is we can create safe areas so that if an enemy steps into that safe area, they'll pretty much die. And we'll demonstrate that now. But to be able to do that, we need to go to Arma Reforger, prefabs, multiplayer, spawning. I think that's right. Let me have a look. Incorrect. Go here. Multiplayer, modes, capture and hold areas. There we go. Sorry, incorrect. Capture and hold spawn areas. And a spawn area is basically a safe zone. And we want a capture and hold spawn area US. Let me just see where the US, yep, is here. So we'll just drop that here. And what we're going to do, so we have our spawn area automatically selected here, is we're going to go over and just draw the shape. Okay, and now what we can do is, let's see if we can, let's make it a circle again, make it a sphere. There we go, we're just going to make it a sphere and just grow it out. And then that will stop people from, I'm going to put it right onto the edge of the wall there. There we go. Again, it's not the most like, it's not the most robust sort of problem solving, because people can still stand at the gate here and just fire at us, but you know, we're going to pretend. In fact, we wouldn't even put a spawn point right there. We'd probably put it behind the building here. Yeah. All right. So from here, now that we have that done, one thing that we might want to do, so if we just press play, so if we just press play for a second so we can see this, right now on the map, so if we look right now while this is counting down, if we look, we can see our spawn point, but there's no indication. There's no indication that like there's a safe zone here, and really that's fine. It's fine that there's no indication that there's a spawn point here. It's no problems, right? Sorry, a safe zone. We can see this here because it's turned on right now, but there's no indication that it's there on the map. And what we can do is we can actually put down a very simple like map marker that will just let people know that there is a map marker. There is a restricted area there for the opposite team. So if we just, let me just jump onto the opposite team, because actually I've realized I haven't actually shown you what the safe zone does. So I'll just quickly jump back in, and then we'll go in as the Russians and we'll enter this safe zone so you can see what happens. Okay, let's just go into the church here, and you can see the safe zone there. So by the power of editing, guys, I will get to the other side. Okay, so we'll just enter, and if you watch now, we'll get a warning that tells us you are behind enemy lines, return to your objective immediately, and I think it's 10 seconds maybe, we'll die. There we go. So that's what a safe area does, the default vanilla safe area. Okay, we'll just jump out. Okay, so that we can actually see it on the map, again, you don't have to put it in there. You can just put, leave the safe area like this, but just so we can see it on the map, you can actually add a map descriptor component. So if we go add component down the bottom here, just type in map. I believe it's this one. This one. Yep. So there you can see it. It's the CSR map descriptor component. You can put in a display name if you want. So Just type in safe. It's visible on map. Just so it looks a little bit better and you can actually see it as a descriptor, let's make it a waypoint, which will be a red square. Scale, what size? So that's 39. Scale, let's make it 39. Faction, we'll just leave it with 0, which should be US, I believe, or is it Russian? Does that maybe? What if I go 1? We won't worry about this. Force group, doesn't matter. And the priority, we'll use as -1. Maybe we'll just go like 35 for now. Hopefully that'll make it a priority. We'll just go save. And then if we just go back into the game now, what you'll see is there'll be like a red box. And that'll do for now until we get into the more advanced sort of game mode. And then we can look at actually designing a proper indicator on the map. So if we go like this, just go US. And then if we zoom out, you can see there it is. There's a square on the map now that indicates a safe zone. And you can rotate that and stuff like that. So there you go. And then you can also put one obviously up on there. The only thing that you will find is that it will be visible. So the problem with putting markers on is that the enemy spawn point will be visible to friendlies. Unless of course you can make it so that it isn't visible to the enemy on the map. But yeah. Okay guys, and that is how you build a very, very simple capture and hold. And I think that's pretty good for a beginner setup. And the thing that will make this interesting, guys, is if you actually set up a whole bunch of actual capture points. So if you like put one over here, put another one sort of over here. And put another one over here. Okay, and so, and of course you would obviously need to move the US and the USSR spawn points around. See, and now you're starting to get kind of fun game mode that people can play. Okay, let's leave it there and we'll move on to the next lesson. if we just close all these up, just so we can, there we go. Okay, so inside our capture and hold area, major here, we can actually like make a sphere, like an area where we can, if the person steps inside it, it begins to capture it. And so the best way to be able to do that, and it's really simple, is that we just change it from a bounding box into a sphere. And then normally we would just click and type in a number down here, guys. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it so you can watch the sphere grow. So it's going to be a red sphere. You can see it growing on the map, on the world there. Okay, and we'll just take it up to 20. I'm just going to type in 20, guys, so we can, there we go. And then what we can do is we can grab hold of our directional arrows, and then we can move it so that it sits over the church. And so what we have now is a capture point. Now, if you feel that's too small, we can obviously make it bigger. There we go. And if you think that it's hanging over here and here too much, we can shift it this way a bit so it takes more of the garden, the cemetery at the back there. Okay, so there we go. We have our sphere of influence. So this will be basically when people walk in, they will begin to capture and gain points. Of course, to be able to make this like at least the most basic style of game, we're going to need to put in a US and USSR spawn points. So let's go to modes. Oh, this one. Yep, so back to multiplayer. Spawning. And then we need to find our US and USSR spawn points. Spawn point US. And then we just drag and drop it into the world. So we're going to put it just here. And then we need to put a spawn point USSR, and we'll just put that one like on the road up here. And then we can fight over the church. Again, we're making this at the most basic level. So we don't have to worry too much about this stuff. Because at the moment, it's just about learning the mechanics rather than trying to make something sexy. So let's just save. And then let's actually test this out. So we'll go here. And then we're going to go yes to all. We go okay. Okay, I just went US, and it shows here that we have a capture point in there, and there's our spawn point there. We'll just wait for it to click down. Yeah, deploy. Okay, and just go third person so you can actually see that I'm a US soldier.